Pet sitting seems like an easy job. Watch over someone's furry friend, feed them, play with them, and go home. But sometimes things don't go as planned. These 3 real-life stories prove that pet sitting can turn into a nightmare. From eerie shadows to ghostly encounters, these terrifying experiences will make you think twice before staying alone in someone else's house. Lisa was a college student looking for extra money. When she got a pet-sitting job in an old suburban house, she thought it would be easy. The owners had left their black Labrador, Max, under her care for a week. The first night was normal. She fed Max, watched some TV, and went to bed early. But at around 2 a.m., she woke up to the sound of footsteps in the hallway. Her heart pounded. Was someone in the house? She grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight. Max was growling at the bedroom door, his fur standing up. Lisa hesitated but decided to check. She stepped into the hallway, but it was empty. She brushed it off as her imagination and went back to bed. The next night, the noises got worse. This time she saw a dark figure standing near the staircase. It was tall, featureless, and completely still. She turned on the lights, but no one was there. By the third night, Lisa was terrified. She decided to sleep with Max in her room. Around 3 a.m., Max started barking aggressively at the door. Then, the door creaked open on its own. Lisa felt a cold chill down her spine. She grabbed Max, locked the door, and waited for sunrise. The next morning, she found scratches on the inside of the front door, as if something had been trying to get in. When the owners returned, they told her no one had ever stayed in that house without experiencing strange things. Lisa never returned. Michael had been pet-sitting for years, but nothing prepared him for what happened one stormy night. He was taking care of a golden retriever named Buddy in a large countryside home. Everything was fine until Buddy started acting strangely. He would sit at the bottom of the stairs, staring at something invisible. Sometimes he would bark and whimper as if someone was there. One evening, Michael was watching TV when Buddy suddenly ran to the front door, growling. It was raining heavily outside, and no one was there. Thinking Buddy was just reacting to the storm, Michael calmed him down and went to bed. At around 2 a.m., Michael woke up feeling suffocated, as if someone was in the room with him. Then he heard footsteps above him, even though he was on the top floor. Buddy was at the foot of the bed, his ears pinned back, growling at the ceiling. Gathering his courage, Michael grabbed a flashlight and walked into the hallway. That's when he saw it. A pale figure standing at the top of the stairs. It was barely visible, but he could feel its presence. Buddy barked wildly, snapping Michael out of his trance. He turned on all the lights, and the figure was gone. The next day, he told the owners about the experience. They went pale and said, "You saw her, didn't you?" Apparently, a woman had died in that house years ago, and every dog they owned reacted to her presence. Michael never took a countryside pet-sitting job again. Emma was hired to take care of a cat named Whiskers in an old Victorian house. The owners told her Whiskers had a habit of hiding, but always came back when called. On the first day, Whiskers was nowhere to be found. Emma searched every corner of the house but couldn't find him. Eventually, she gave up, assuming he'd return when hungry. That night, she heard scratching noises from inside the walls. It sounded like an animal, but it was coming from deep within the house. She called for Whiskers, and suddenly the scratching stopped. The next morning, she found Whiskers sitting in the middle of the living room, staring at the ceiling. When she looked up, she saw something chilling, a small attic door she hadn't noticed before, slightly open. Curious, she decided to check inside. As she climbed up, she saw something that made her freeze. There were claw marks on the wooden floor and an old, rotting pet collar lying in the corner. The name on it wasn't Whiskers. Terrified, she shut the attic door and called the owners. When they returned, they casually mentioned that their previous cat had gone missing, right before Whiskers showed up. Emma quit that night. Pet sitting isn't always just about playing with adorable animals. Sometimes, you encounter things you wish you hadn't. These real-life horror stories remind us that when animals act strangely, they might be seeing something that we can't. Would you take a pet-sitting job in a creepy house after hearing these stories? Let us know in the Come In a Small Village. A cat named Whiskers discovered a magic fish in a pond. The fish promised 3 wishes in exchange for its freedom. Whiskers wished for endless fish, a cozy bed, and a bell that rang softly. The fish granted all 3 wishes and swam away, leaving Whiskers content and purring in the sun.